105.5.
Quick, charge at 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Business Splash for the week. In this package, we have for you stories on oil and gas, agriculture, electricity, exportation, bilateral trade, as well as some stock report. I am Oluwaseun Akinola. The headlines. Federal government orders immediate dissolution of anti-vandal units nationwide. Nigeria, Poland sign pact on agriculture, pledge enlarge economic cooperation. National Union of Electricity Employees says electricity distribution companies robbing Nigerians fail to upgrade facilities. And lastly, Naira weakens again, down by 0.29%. Those were the headlines. Details in a moment. And now, business news in details. The federal government has ordered the immediate dissolution of all anti-vandalism teams of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and SCDC nationwide, following ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption. Corps Commandant General Dr. Ahmed Audi announced the directive at a media briefing, an emergency meeting with state commandants in Abuja. Announcing the dissolution following an order from Minister of Interior, Rauf Arebeshola, Audi said the action became necessary following reports of misconduct against the personnel. He stated that the Civil Defense Corps is saddled with the responsibility of protecting critical assets and infrastructure such as oil and gas pipelines. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has called for the sack of the Director of Finance of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC, Mr. Akinola. Committee Chairman Mr. James Faleke echoed the call at hearing in Abuja, part of his interaction with government agencies and ministries to arrive at suitable parameters for the medium-term expenditure framework 2023 to 2025. The finance director was alleged to have engaged in extra budgetary spending. The committee also asked the Accountant General of the Federation to block the FCCPC's account. Assistant Trade Commissioner, Malaysia External Trade Development, Suwadi Abdul Shukur, has lauded the Nigerian government for increasing exports to the Asian nation by 77.8%. While speaking at the opening of its healthcare branch, Elkan Global Nigeria, yesterday, Shukur said despite the COVID-19 epidemic, bilateral trade between both nations increased at the end of 2020 by 77.8%. He said in 2021, Malaysia's total trade with Nigeria increased by 15.3% to $1.27 billion from $84.5 million in 2020. Shukur added that the Malaysian government is of the opinion that with more openings, the two nations will be able to strengthen ties. In his remarks, founder, chairman of Elkan Global, A.K. Tan, said the company is geared at building trust and integrity between the two countries, nations, and providing quality healthcare products to Nigerians. Nigeria and Poland yesterday signed a memorandum of understanding MOU on agriculture development. They also discussed exportation of Nigerian gas to Poland and other European countries. The signing of the MOU took place during the state visit of President Andrzej Duda of Poland, the first and by any Polish leader to Nigeria since the establishment of diplomatic relations between both countries in 1961. Details of the activities and decisions made during the bilateral meeting, which held at the presidential villa in Abuja, were announced at the joint media briefing addressed by Presidents Muhammadu Buhari and Duda. President Buhari said Nigeria was gratified by the existing fruitful cooperation with Poland in the fields of maritime, education, and defense. on agriculture, which is one of the priority areas of the Nigerian government. The president said cooperation in this area will be a win-win for both countries, especially in the context of global food insecurity caused by the conflict in Ukraine. On his part, President Duda described the agreement reached on agricultural cooperation as necessary given the food security crisis that arose from Russia's war in Ukraine. Electricity workers under the auspices of the National Union of Electricity Employees (NUEE) have alleged that electricity distribution companies are using dubious antics to rob Nigerians. The workers also allege that electricity distribution companies have failed to upgrade and expand their capacities and networks. The workers made these disclosures while addressing a press conference in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The electricity workers have, however, said the distribution companies are using dubious antics, such as overbilling to rob the citizens. Assistant General Secretary, Western Zone of NUEE, Oluwaseun Akinola, while addressing journalists on behalf of his colleagues, added that distribution companies have failed to upgrade since the sector was privatized. He said this is forcing communities to procure distribution facilities like transformers, cables, and poles. He maintained that Nigerians are not getting the value for their monies despite the 2 trillion Naira bailout fund that the federal government gave to both the distribution companies and generating companies on different occasions since the privatization. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, said marketers got a whopping 103 billion naira as bridging petrol claims in 9 months. The claim came on the heels of the 3-day warning strike which the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, commenced on Monday. According to a press statement, the NMDPRA's Corporate Communications Department issued in Abuja last night, the disbursements were made in from December 2021 to last month. The federal government has concluded plans to train 2,000 residents in Naira on various skills as part of its commitment to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. Senior Special Assistant SSA to President Muhammadu Buhari on Education Interventions, Mr. Fela Bang Olemo, disclosed this in Lafia at the launch of Project T-Max, TVET Maximization Initiative in Nasarawa. Is that Project T-Max is a technical way and vocational education and training program approved by the National Steering Committee on National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy. He said the project being piloted in 7 states to train 15,000 citizens was one of the core interventions to achieve the federal government's goal of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030.
Key thing we need to give Nigerians is teach them, give them skills that can transform their lives. So we're giving them skills. We're also going to, for the students that are going to come for the training, we're going to give them transportation stipend to ensure that they can come. But the key thing is that we want Nigerians that want to learn. Nigerians that want to improve themselves. People that are going to take it serious. It's a very intensive training. The very best students will get starter packs at the end of the training. Those that do very well.
The Naira on Tuesday further lost value against the dollar at the investors and exporters window, exchanging at 436 Naira against 434 Naira 75 kobo on Monday, representing 0.29 depreciation. The open indicative rate closed at 433 Naira to the dollar on Tuesday. An exchange rate of 437 Naira 50 kobo to the dollar was the highest rate recorded within the day's trading before it settled at 436 Naira. The Naira sold for as low as 425 Naira to the dollar within the day's trading. A total of $63.05 million was traded at the official investors and exporters window on Tuesday. We now link up with Femi Ojo for Stock Exchange Report.
A brief morning to you out there. Here is a summary of trading activities on the floor of the stock market for yesterday, the 6th day in the month of September 2022. I must let you know that the market at the close of trading actually dropped marginally. We have a drop in the whole share index by 0.69% to close at 49,644.92 basis points. Over 138.9 million units of shares valued at over 2.725 billion naira was traded in 4,247 deals, and the equity capitalization dropped down to over 26.777 trillion naira. A quick look at the top three gainers. We have Unilever top on the pack, gaining 1 naira 15 kobo to close at 13 naira 35 kobo. CAP gained 1 naira 25 kobo to close at 17 naira 75 kobo, and Champs gained 2 kobo to close at 30 kobo. For the decliners, we have Nigerian Police Microfinance Bank top in the park, closing on 13 kobo to close at 153 kobo. Regalins lost 2 kobo to close at 24 kobo, and Livestock lost 7 kobo to close at 118 kobo. For the major players, we have Sterling Bank top in the park, trading over 18.3 million units of shares. Transcorp traded over 13.2 million units of shares. Zenith Bank traded over 12.4 million units of shares. GT Co traded over 9.2 million units of shares, and UBA traded over 7.7 million units of shares. And that was a summary of trading activities on the floor of the stock market for yesterday, the 6th day in the month of September 2022. Join me on Friday when I bring you the outcome of tomorrow's trading. My name remains Femi Ojo.
Thank you, Femi. That's it on Business Splash for today on Splash 105.5 FM.